Mark, we might be muted. He might not even be able to hear us. Yeah, he's muted. He's got the little mute thing. We're so bad at technology. Include this in the recording. Show how Mark has now made nearly $300,000 today, and he can't figure out the mute button on Zoom. What's up, Tim Sykes, millionaire mentor and trader here. I'm very proud of my student, Mark Croock. He's already one of my top millionaire students. He's been not just a great student in the challenge program, he's a mentor to other students now too. If you click the link below, you can apply to be in my challenge. The second link below will be to Mark's teachings because it's a little different than what I do. And this is what I encourage out of all my students, not just to like copy anybody else's strategy to a T, but to take a little something from every transparent trader and use that to make your own strategy, what works for you. We all are different people. We have different strengths, weaknesses, account sizes, patience levels. You got to find what works best for you. Mark has done that. He's now at around 4 million. And I was very proud to interview him on the day that he made nearly $300,000. I wanted to get in his mindset right away. So leave a comment below. Let me know if you like this interview. Please congratulate Mark on his success. This is freaking awesome. But I want you to understand this is after a lot of hard work, a lot of studying, years dedicated to learning first. If you watch my video lessons on Profitly, 8,000 plus video lessons, Mark Croock is the one who came up with the tags and the categories. That ain't me. I'm busy making them. I'm not the most organized person, so Mark did that. But in this video, I want you to really take notes. Listen to Mark's attitude and his mindset. Think about making nearly $300,000. He finished up $288,000 on the day. For some people who work very hard manual labor jobs, that's a decade of work. He did this in one day and he didn't even maximize it. He was like, I could have done better. I was like, shut up, don't even go there, Mike, okay? You made nearly $300,000 in a day. It doesn't matter if you could have been more aggressive, that is fantastic. And I should mention, this is what I love about my community. You might remember a few years ago, 2 years ago, in fact, Tim Grattani, who is arguably my best student, 1,500 now into nearly 16 million, he had a $300,000 day. And I asked him, how are you going to celebrate? He gave a challenge webinar. Mark Croock gave his Evolve Trader students a webinar today. He's got his own teachings. Like I said, he took my teachings and really maximized them and compartmentalized them and utilized them with his own strategy. So if you click the link below, you can apply for my challenge. That's where all my millionaires are being created. Secondly, you can go check out Evolve Trader. That's his group. He now has successful students too. This is what this is all about. I want you to learn this strategy. I want you to learn from me. I want you to learn from Mark. I want you to really use our years of experience, decades of experience between me and Mark. He's got a decade of experience. I've got 2. Use that to speed up your learning curve. So pay attention, listen to his attitude. He's so humble after making nearly $300,000 a day. I mean, it's insane. Very cool lessons too, some very counterintuitive lessons. Let's see if you can, kind of figure them out because they might not be so obvious, especially in the beginning. These are not the lessons that you think you're going to get out of this. I'll tell you that right away. But congrats to Mark again. Leave a comment below. Please congratulate him. It's good to, show support for your fellow traders. And Mark is not just a trader. Again, he's a mentor. I can't thank him enough for helping me mentor so many other students in the challenge. We're going to create more millionaires in this industry where 90% of people lose, okay? Can't guarantee you that you're going to be my next millionaire. Can't guarantee you that you're going to, potentially make $300,000 in a day, but it is possible. And it's happening with several of my students now. So check this out. Get inspired. This is the beauty of trading. We're going to be real. We're using all of this. We're showing how you couldn't figure out your mute button and you couldn't figure out your video button. And yet you just made what some people might take them 7, 8, 10 years at a normal job. Today.
Bit lucky, but I'll take it. Thank God.
No, the harder you work, the luckier you get. Are we recording all of this, Steven?
That's so weird.
We are, yeah.
Look at the background. I was gonna try and impress with my charts and everything in the
Listen,
back.
you don't need to be good at everything. Focus on trading. It's better that you can't figure out your webcam or anything. Look at this. Look at Mark's blurry screen. He can't even figure out the settings. I love it. You don't need the screens. We're here to talk to you. We're here to congratulate you. Everyone, leave a comment underneath this video. Congratulate Mark. Nearly $300,000 in profits on the day. How does it feel, man?
Man, it feels good, especially after, slumping for a little bit. So
let's talk about that for a second, because last time I saw you a few days ago, you're like, oh, it's so sad. Like, how much were you down on the year? Were you up on the year? What were you doing? Right now we're filming this and like, it's literally the halfway point in the year. What did you do the first half of 2022?
Yeah, so I started out really well. I was trading really well the first couple months, and then I was kind of coasting, and then we got to March. Somehow March always seems to be a tricky month for me, and we had that huge bear market rally, and I started playing some Tesla puts amongst some other plays, and as you know, I'm more bearish. I like to play puts a lot. And Tesla went, Tesla bounced like almost 100%, and I kept holding, and I broke rules, and I paid heavily. I lost over 100,000 on that trade, and I just kind of lost my groove. And then we went to Israel. We did a family trip, and I kind of slowed down on trading a little bit, and probably needed some time from the market to try and kind of chill out a little bit. But and then the last so since then I've kind of just been trying to play some bounce plays on BITO. I alerted some plays at Evolve Trader there, and I was actually right, but I mistimed it, and I ended up stopping out, and then only to wake up on a Monday and Bitcoin is up 10%. But I knew that Bitcoin has this history of making big moves over the weekend, and I think with the markets being the super shaky the way they have, there was a really good risk reward trade with BITO, which is the Bitcoin ETF, and Ethereum. If you look at the Ethereum chart, it was already cracking key support right around, I believe it was like 1700. And so on Fridays, Ethereum was already cracking. Now Bitcoin had not cracked that multi month support, but I knew that we could be heading that way over the weekend. And sure enough, Bitcoin just unraveled about 18%, I think it was. So it's pretty sweet to be short, and be long at the same time. I was long the puts over the weekend. So for those that aren't aware, you can be long the put options, but actually you're betting against the underlying stock or security. So it worked out.
Confusing for a lot of people. Okay, so we're actually going to link one of Mark's free guides just to explaining the basics, so that you can understand there's different ways to profit. You don't just need a bull market. But Mark, I'm not going to let you off. I asked you specifically, were you green on the year before this $300,000 trade?
Yeah,
nearly.
Yeah. So after that Tesla trade and some other tough losses that have just kind of combined, I believe I was back to like roughly flat on the year. So
that was the point that I wanted to make, where you're like depressed and you're like, oh, I'm struggling. You're break even basically in a market that's down 20, 25% if you're into stocks, 50, 60, 70% if you're into crypto, and you're depressed because you're break even. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, I think I've been around long enough to have some pretty good realistic expectations. It's certainly not the end of the world. As you say, the markets are down a ton, but I was not happy with my trading. Let's just put it that way.
Can you admit that you are greedy and you do not want to be break even, because now you've gotten spoiled by the past few years of multi-million dollars in trading profits?
Yeah, I think so. I think perhaps a bit spoiled, but as we all are, as many students and traders all over the globe might be, but
100%. I just wanted to make that point because, you're over $4 million now after today, right?
not quite, no, because as I said, I was I have to go back and do the
You're right
math,
around 4
but,
million.
but
Close enough.
it's nearing 4 million.
The point that I wanted to make was
Yeah.
that you're spoiled. You're over 4 million, or right like at 2.9 or something, or 3.9, but you're profiting in a down market. And it's very similar to, Kyle Williams is another short seller. He just had his first red month in 5 years. And it's just funny to think about, like, where he's depressed and it's like, oh, I lost 50 grand on the month, but he's over 3 million. And actually, I think it wasn't March that he had trouble with. It was April. April was his like negative $50,000 month. Now
Right.
in May, he made 100,000. So we already made back all of his losses. You've already made back all your losses. And this, I think, is very important, where it's awesome. Today is a record day for you, right? Is this your biggest day ever?
Yeah, it is by a mile. So I'm not complaining. I'm happy. I'm not trading today anymore. That's it.
Good. But
Although I
also,
do think the
point that I
markets
want-
are still very shaky, and I think
the
I don't
point
think
I wanted to make is that you, even with your, overly spoiled, depressive outlook, you were within shooting highs of your career highs. And this is very similar with stocks, where, when a stock has surged a lot and I want to buy a breakout, I want it to hold near its highs, because that shows me that it has the potential to keep going. And I think that's very applicable for traders, where a lot of these crypto people, NFT people, they're down 30, 40, 50, 70%. They're holding, they're hoping that it comes back. Maybe it does come back, but even if it does come back, they're just trying to get back to break even. And if the thing doubles, triples, quadruples, they're just back to break even because they're so far off their highs. You, even with your losses, even with your mistakes, you stayed near your highs. Now you're at new all-time highs.
Yeah, so a couple things from, as you said, I mean, number one, you talk about stocks that hold near their highs. So in this instance, I mean, it's really just the reverse, and it's a very similar strategy.
They held near their lows. BITO.
Everything held, nothing could bounce. Everything held near their lows, and it was almost like a perfect storm. For more capitulation with Bitcoin, and of course all the altcoins that already crashed. But so that was number one. Number two, I think being able to place small positions using these options, and combining it with a strategy that's very reliable, that in and of itself is very powerful in a bear market, especially because you can, I got into these BITO puts at 50 cents. I had the 1750s and the $17 puts. The BITO was trading around 18.20 when I alerted, and they opened right at the open. I mean, BITO gapped down to 14.50, so 50 cents turned into 2.50 for this on the $17 puts, and actually closer to $3 for the 17.50. So 500%, can't really beat that.
And I think that's actually amazing. I'm glad you brought that up, because you see some of these traders, they post like $100, $200, $300,000, winning days, but they're betting millions, tens of millions of dollars to do it. It's not applicable for the average person, right? Like, it looks good. I'm not knocking. I mean, it's awesome if you can make 100, 200, 300,000, but like if you're using a $5 million position to do that, I mean, it's just a small percentage. Your strategy, small dollar amounts, but big percentage gains are possible, which you proved today.
Yeah, so I actually used the small account for a small position, which was obviously a fraction of my total position, but that 3,000 it was in the roughly $3,000 turned into 7,000, and then I have a $100,000 account that went up 80%, only using 20% of the account. So I bet I had $50,000 on Bitcoin puts, which turned into roughly 280,000. So that's pretty cool when you can do that with very little, with relatively speaking, even if you have a small account, as you said. I mean, whether it's 5,000, 10,000, you know, you can grow a small account like this, and that's what I've shown at Evolve Trader since we launched a couple of years ago.
100%. And this is what I love about trading and about teaching. You know, I know obviously, like, think about this in terms of testimonials. 90% of traders in any niche lose money. Like, it's not a given. But when you have the right preparation, like you said, when you're lucky, you know, the more you prepare, the harder you study, the luckier you get. You have this potential and things can come together. And, you know, it's important to note that most people, the vast majority of people who are holding crypto, BITO, any crypto related investments are getting crushed right now. But you have students who have you now taught with this, you know, guide that you have. Again, click the link below. It's a free presentation, learn about it. But these students are learning to profit in a bear market. I'm looking at some of just what they said. You know, KK made 4,000, Justin made 6,000 on the day, Jeremy B made 7,500, James 6,000, Ed made 965, Lakir made 4,200, Brad R 10,000, Bobby 350% on his small account, VJ 6,000, T Hall 10,000 today, Ryan 536% gain, Sergio $4,000 plus profit, Giftman 2,700, Francisco, I could go on all day. Francisco 5,900, Soul Train 6,500, Anton 2,100, Peter 4,100. The point is, and you know, there's some people on Twitter that were up 10, 20, 30,000. If you follow me, I retweeted them. You start to see these gains of a few $1,000s. And people say, oh, like that doesn't really happen that often. You and I have made careers out of making a few $1,000s. Do you know what your average trading profit is over the years, Mark? Do you know?
I haven't checked lately, but I suspect it's not much more than maybe $2,000, something along.
So I had a feeling that you wouldn't know, because once upon a time I asked you like to review your trades, and we found that like 80 or 90% of your profits came from like 10 or 20% of your trades. So you just needed to focus. My average winning gain over 20 plus years is $1,600. I trade mainly with a small account. I like it. I'm better at small account. Your average trading profit is $1,992. So less than $2,000. With today, it might boost you over 2,000. But if you can learn to make $1,000, $2,000, and you do that over and over and over again, let's say 1,000 times, that's how you make $1 million while controlling your losses. Is that not true?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we all want to make, you know, I think our natural inclinations to want to grow and have those home runs. But as you teach, and I teach also, you've got to go for the singles and the doubles, and the home runs will come along the way. But yeah, if you're going to go for those big trades, as opposed to just growing gradually over time, you're going to stay consistent. You're going to stay grounded, as opposed to the heavy hitters, the heavy sluggers who, you know, they might hit those big trades, but unfortunately, it's the next trade or the one after that gives it all back, you know, and sets you all the way to the beginning again. So yeah, and it's all about confidence. I think confidence, you've got to build that confidence. The only way you're going to do that is if you, you know, gradually grow and prove to yourself that you can grow your small account.
All right. So getting out of the way with the strategy, you know, fantastic. I really think everyone should click below and learn this pattern, learn this strategy. It's actually pretty cool, where it's based on penny stocking type mentality. But let's get to the fun part. What are you going to do to celebrate? You know, you've made nearly $300,000 in a day. What are you guys going to do?
Well, nothing planned as of yet, but
have you told your wife what happened?
Yeah, my wife knows, and I think she's booked Thursday night as a definite date night. So I'll take her out, and you know, the kids will get spoiled maybe a little bit over the weekend, but you know, all in all, got to stay grounded. I don't want to get too emotional or too overconfident, you know, because you're only as good as your next trade. I've had this problem in the past, you know, where big wins are followed by some real letdown trades. So, you know, I think the best traders, and I love your Ray Allen dentist appointment
analogy.
analogy.
For
Yeah,
what for those of you who don't know, I did a blog post where Ray Allen, one of the greatest 3-point shooters before Steph Curry was the greatest 3-point shooter, won an NBA championship in Miami. He's not like a big party. I've met him, really nice, really humble guy. And the next day he goes to the dentist office and his dentist is like, Ray, what are you doing here? You just won the NBA championship. And he's like, well, that was yesterday. I got another day. Now I got to go to the dentist. Let's do this. And that's how you have to think. Like, it's good to celebrate. It's good to make these profits, but then you go right back in. And one point I wanted to make, I got to go in a second. One point, do you think your Israel trip helped you? Because like you said, you were kind of in a funk, going away, clearing your mind, spending time with family. Did that help you make this trade better? Do you think if you didn't go to Israel and you were still in the funk, might you not have made this same kind of trade?
Yeah, I think so. I think I know I would have been over trading during that time frame, and perhaps I might have regained some more confidence. Hard to say, but I think there's a lot to be said about just taking some time off and maybe recalibrating. And even though even since I've been back, I've had some tough trades, but nevertheless, I think the more time that you have to kind of step away, I think ultimately benefits you. And God bless Israel. I think it was so much fun, and if I had to do it all over again, well, I would do it the same way. And I think for those that are starting out, for those of you watching, just you take it one step at a time. You start, build that foundation, and then make it happen as you move along.
Yeah, and I think it's good to take some time off every now and then. Like, trading can get frustrating, especially in a down market. Right now, a lot of people are just grinding away. Like, I see people in my challenge webinars, they're like, I'm just not a good trader. I'm like, no, it's a crappy market, and you're trying to force trades that aren't necessarily there because you want it to be 2020, 2021 again. You want that bubble type action. The market doesn't care what you want. So sometimes it's good to step away. It's good to travel. It's good to spend time with your friends and family and see what really matters. And that actually, I think, helps you. It helps me for sure when I travel, because I'm not looking to trade. If I'm there in Miami with perfect Wi-Fi, no jet lag, I actually trade like crap because I'm like, okay, let's make some trades. Everything's set up for me. And then I start forcing trades because I think that it's about me. It's not. The market will have ups and downs. There will be opportunities. Sometimes there won't be. It's your job to try to stay in the best mindset, not looking for home runs, not looking to trade all the time, taking what the market gives you. When you see crypto failing to bounce, holding near its lows, and it's very similar to like a breakout where if a stock is holding near its highs, then it breaks out to new highs, you just flip it upside down. Turn your laptop upside down, turn your mobile phone upside down. It's literally a breakout just in reverse. And it's a breakdown. And Mark saw that over the weekend. And he really capitalized. And now his students are banking, and this is just awesome. And now Mark is not depressed anymore about his trading. Now he's like at a high, and he's like, hell yeah. Or I don't know, you tell me.
Well, I definitely on a bit of a high, but again, I think that at the end of the day, you just gotta take it one at a time, and never get too high, too low. And maybe I just needed to size down. I think that's part of it, and I did that. I didn't go too aggressive. I think I very well could have gone even more aggressive and ended up potentially making double, or perhaps
calm down. Look at this. You got to watch out for your greediness.
No, that's why I say size down. I think especially when you're struggling, and back to what you had said about over trading, and too many people are just trying to find opportunities when they're not there. And the more you trade, statistically, the more mistakes, the more losses you're going to have, and it's just a domino effect, and you're going to end up frustrating yourself and getting away from and while you might miss out, sure, you might miss out on some plays. I was pissed that I missed BABA was up a lot, was kind of like not a supernova, but overextended. And even though I missed that, I knew that it still wasn't, necessarily the perfect setup that Bitcoin was potentially setting up to be. So
But that's
I'm
the
happy.
thing too. Like you just had a record day when you sized down, when you weren't like in your prime, like, you know, you didn't have like all these great trades before it. You just saw a solid setup. You took a small position. You were dead on right. And now you have your best day ever. Like people think like you, in order to have your best day ever, like everything needs to go right. You need to go big. You don't. It's crazy how you can take smaller size, but if you're on the right track, sometimes, like you said, you can get lucky, like you were dead on in your thesis and you're rewarded. So you don't need to, you know, just go big all the time. I think that there's a real art to going small. For those golfers out there, it's very similar. Like you don't have to try to hit the ball as hard as you can. There's a whole Zen-like quality to golf where, you know, if you have more control than power, the ball can really be like it could still be a perfect shot. So you got to sometimes think that, you know, trading is a little different. It's a little counterintuitive and you can do well. I got to get going. Congratulations. I'm proud of you. Everyone leave a comment below. Congratulate Mark. Watch his free presentation. Learn this strategy. Thanks again, Mark. Congratulations.
All right, Tim. Thanks a lot.
Go celebrate.
I will. All right. See you soon, man.